Welcome back to the LiteraTea with Selah Kumani and Sassafras Cypress Indigo, better known as Makeda. We are talking about Mama Day by Gloria Naylor. If you have an opportunity to read any other Gloria Naylor, do it quickly. No, just do it because she's an awesome writer. Awesome writer, usually providing an awesome read. We kind of left off with the exposition and discussion about some of the main characters, most of the main characters in the book. And we're going to pick up, I'd like to pick up with Coco in New York and how she's basically been transplanted from this very rural country, small provincial town where people don't exactly go out and stay gone. And she's familiar with everybody from her town, but she's living in New York trying to do it big and make something for herself and looking for a job.
Coco's an interesting character in that, like when her and George meet, like where she was when George met her
At the diner.
At the diner,
Yeah.
and she had this. Yes, she had been living in New York. That was one of the things I found interesting about George's view of Coco's life. She had been living in New York all those years and had never really seen New York. Like everything was. She referred to different ethnic groups as food. And she had this very narrow view of what it, even though she was a transplant from a small town, of course you could take the girl out of a small town, can't take the small town out of the girl.
Right.
So of course, when we encounter something, we can only categorize it by what we know.
True.
So that she knew nothing.
True.
So she categorized it by food because she knew food.
She knew food, exactly.
So people became,
the Eskimo pie and egg rolls.
Yeah, it's weird. And when her and George, it's kind of like I felt like her and George had that kind of Pride and Prejudice beginning.
Ooh, good.
Good. Because it was like they didn't exactly rub each other the right way when they first met.
No.
But it was something about them that attracted, that pulled. There was a connection, and despite the fact that he was like, I don't want anything to do with her, and despite the fact that she was like, I don't want anything to do with him, they had the summer of their lives. And
him walking by her and seeing, because she's kind of self-absorbed in her own little world. She's dressed the part. She's dressed the New York part. And she feels very cosmopolitan about herself, to be absolutely honest with you.
I'm a New Yorker.
Yes, I could be native if I wanted to. She was very sedity in the fact that she had left
in her ignorance.
Yeah, in her ignorance, very much so, very much so. And George spotted it immediately, like this bumpkin,
But there was still something about. I mean, he noticed the curl along,
and that was where I was
her
the
neck,
nape of her neck,
and it was just things about her that even when he referred her to the job, it was something about her that he saw that
was
he valued.
Yes, exactly. He reminded her of a home he never had, because remember, George was an orphan. He'd grown up in a foster home run by this very stern, not stern necessarily, but rational, pragmatic, good word, very pragmatic, very rational headmistress, whose her favorite phrase was, only the now has potential, only the present.
I mean, I have taken that from that book. Only the present has potential. That's the only thing you can deal with. That's the only thing you can manipulate in that time. And there was something about, like, George as a man, like, he's my kind of dude.
He is a guy.
He is a man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was honest
to a fault.
He was honest. He was straightforward. He knew what he wanted. There was a lot about George I liked.
I agree. I think he was. I like the fact that even in his judgments, even when he realized he was wrong in some of his judgments, he kind of backtrack and say, you know what, that was on me, my bad, my fault, I got that one wrong, whatever, and still allow Coco her mistakes and still allow her stuff, and at the same time he made her kind of cut out that whole brash, I'm so hard and steeled up against the world nonsense. Because
it was nonsense.
It was nonsense. She didn't want to be that person.
Right.
We've had a conversation on more than one occasion about the necessity of being like the ball buster chick. You don't have to be that. And she wanted to portray that so badly. It was ridiculous because she would overdo it, and he saw.
Well, it was her insecurity.
Well, yes, true.
It was her insecurity. She felt insecure about. I mean, think about it. You're living in New York. This is supposed to be, if I can make it I can make it anywhere.
Right.
And you come from this small town that doesn't even exist on the map. It's not even on my
atlas,
right? And so you've created the character that you think you need in order to survive in this place where you really
don't have the survival skills. You don't
right.
have you don't have the point of reference almost to
properly navigate.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna kind of gloss over a couple of parts as far as how they ended up. They see each other in this diner. She notices the way he swirls his coffee stirrer.
Like with the stir.
Right. I thought that was
they were noticing each other.
But at the same time, kind of, he put her out of his mind. She put her out of her mind. And then they ran into each other again because she had a job interview.
And she's sitting across the desk from him.
And she writes home to her aunts routinely, and they kind of give hints about what she's got going on and what she doesn't have going on and the things that she kind of needs to tighten up on. They end up telling her to send a letter saying thank you because she didn't get the job, but saying thank you for the interview. How many people do that nowadays?
I was taught to do it.
I was too, but most people don't.
Yeah. I said I was taught to do it. I didn't say I did.
She did it. Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So what they ended up kind of the chance meeting again, and Mama Day in her wisdom, knowing that her baby girl was hard headed, kind of put a little bit of magic in the envelope that baby girl sent.
She sure did.
She put something to kind of stick with him into the letter.
Right.
The interesting part was as he's washing his hands. Now, this is a guy who was raised in New York. He was raised in the concrete jungle, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. But there was something about that was home for him.
It was something about that scent.
Right.
Because I think it was like lilac or lavender or something. And it was something about that scent that connected with a part of him that maybe it was connected with the destiny part of him.
Probably.
That subconscious spirit happening thing on the inside.
That Gloria Naylor.
Yeah, that Gloria Naylor spirit thing. And he couldn't stay away.
No. And neither could she.
Right.
Despite running to the far ends of the earth sometimes,
and
trying to stay away.
Isn't that kind of cool, though? That they work so hard to stay away from each other, only to end up
together.
Right back together.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
A lot of George's story, it is, I don't know how to put it, like his upbringing with being in the foster home and the pragmatic headmistress and all those type of things. It should have made him a whole lot more jaded than he was to me.
But he wasn't.
And he wasn't. But it's because he saw and valued everything in the present. I think that's part of the lesson that he ended up getting.
It killed some of his creativity, I think. But it still made him a very conscientious person. And we're going to talk some more about George in just a minute. Thank you for joining us again. This is the Literati. We're talking about Gloria Naylor's Mama Day. And we'll be back in just a second. Make sure you come back with us.
Thank
Literati.
you.